everyone. It's Leslie Rogalski here, Creative Director for the BeadSmith, with another Facebook Live. Woohoo! Today I'm going to take you step by step through my Kally Earrings, named after the main component, which is a Cymbal KALAMOS ending for GemDuos. Now, GemDuos are among my favorite two-hole beads to use because they come in so many colors and finishes. And let me tell you, these cymbal components really fit so well with these. So the Kally Earrings, here's my 4 little sample pair. Well, actually half the pairs. Like you saw in the promo, these are real stash busters too, because they are don't use a lot of beads. So can everybody see this? I'm getting a message that maybe I'm off camera. It looks like it's on camera to me. Just somebody say, yes, we can see them. Anybody? All right, I'm going to take that as a yes. So here you can see that cymbals come in 4 different metal color finishes. So they really go with everything. We have an antique silver here. Thanks, Kathy. And good to see ya. Antique silver, antique brass, gold, and rose gold. Thanks, Leslie. And rose gold. And I've chosen some different finishes of GemDuos. The polychrome berry here. We have 2 tropical colors, the tropical mint and the tropical pink passion. And here's another polychrome, and I'm totally spacing on which blue this is, but I thought it looked great with the brass. There's also another cymbal component in these. You can see there's a little bead substitute in there. That's called the ADAMAS. Get that out of the way here so you can see. It has the same footprint as the GemDuo. So you would use it literally in the same place that you would want to put a GemDuo bead. And of course, when you bring metal into your work, like the cymbals, it just enriches it so much. But hey, you can certainly pop another contrasting color of a GemDuo in there if you wanted to. But really, the secret to enriching these is the cymbal element. And with all these colors, of course, you can really take it away. The earrings also have microspacers, faceted microspacers. You can see the little blue ones in here. There's a Capri Gold and the Labrador here. And these spacers, because they're faceted, just bring that extra detail. And then to help to flesh out the piece and to keep everything nice and tight and sitting without thread showing, I've stuck some little 15s in there and then popped them on an ear wire. So you can see they're not very big, so they're a good size for people. You can also, if you wanted, attach a post earring with a jump ring there. In the tutorial, which is free to you and found online at beadsmith.com/I-love-beads, you will find the tutorial that has step-by-step word instructions and also just these 3 little illustrations. You could probably do this without even reading the words. So they're very easy, beginners. You can see my illustration shows how a post earring would go on the top of the loop of the cymbal there. All right, let's get started. We're going to bring these up into the light a little bit more. You want to use size 12 beading needles because there are 15s in this and you do pass through things more than once. So you just want to make sure that everything's going to fit over the needle. This needle's a little bent, but you want to try to use as straight a needle as possible when we come in to attach the top part, because the way these are engineered, the cymbals, your needle can go straight through the holes. You'll see later on in this demo today. And the straighter your needle, the easier it will be to get through back and forth. So we're going to start with a 28 inch of thread, 1 ADAMAS, And I'm going to take this off and have it here so you can kind of follow along. I'm going to scooch it through my bead mat so it stays there. Now you can see it. I'll try not to cover it with my hands. So I like to leave just enough tail to weave in at this point. So, you know, 3 inches or so. You can put a stopper bead there first if you want. I wrap my tail around my thread and I use it as tension to hold it. So I've strung 1 ADAMAS and 5 GemDuos, and you do want to make sure that you have tested all your 2-hole or multi-hole beads so that you know that both holes are open. Because if you're going to do the inside circle first and you've got that nice and snug and knotted and your thread, your tail woven in, and then you come back to do the outside and there's a hole blocked, that's kind of a pain. So you want to always just, you can hold them up to the light and see if you see the light through the holes of it, or you can run your needle through before you do it. So we've got an ADAMAS bead substitute for GemDuos and 5 GemDuos. And I'm going to sew through them again, and you can see how this is giving me a nice straight alignment of the beads so that I can come back and sew through those holes again. And you don't have to do them all at once, but you don't want to skip any. So you want to make sure that you're going through all the beads, through the holes. And this is just going to pull them into a ring. Like that. So you can see my tail is going to meet my working thread. Now I'm going to tie a nice secure square knot there so that that is snugged up in the center of this component. When you pull your knot, make sure you're not crossing over any of the beads, and you want your knot to stay in the same position where your working thread is. You don't want to accidentally cross over your piece. So that's just a half hitch I did. I'm going to finish my square knot. Nice and snug, and you can see how nicely the ADAMAS sits in there. This is the back side of it. You can see it's got the same footprint. And you would thread your tail on a needle and weave it back in. I'm just going to take my thread zap so it doesn't come undone while I'm doing my demo for you. And I'm just going to cut that out of the way. There we go. So thread zap, one of my favorite tools. Get nice and close, cauterize the ends, but I also have a scissors. Did I say I'm using 6-pound fire line? That's my go-to. These earrings don't take a lot of weight, so if you wanted to use 4 pounds, you could do that too. I'm using black here. All right, so I have my thread coming from my knot, which is in between an ADAMAS and my GemDuo. Now I'm going to sew through the ADAMAS, the hole that's already stitched. And this is the only time you're going to see thread showing on the outside of a bead, and it's really going to be hidden. I'm going to step up, reverse direction, and come back through my ADAMAS this way. Now you can see in the earring here that there's 2 GemDuos, on a GemDuo on either side of the ADAMAS. So we're going to sew this round now. So I'm going to pick up a GemDuo. You want to make sure that it's going to be sitting in the proper direction. And I also have a microspacer and a 15 to fill in the space between the ADAMAS and the next GemDuo. And I figured that out, so that sits nice. Now we're going to put a 15, a microspacer, and a 15 between these 4 spaces. And you can see how nice and sparkly the facets on the microspacers are. I'm using matte black 15s. I love to use matte against a shiny or a metallic finish. They really show each other off. So I'm going to continue picking up a 15 and a microspacer and a 15 and fill in between each of the GemDuos. This really is a beginner project. It's good for all skill levels. If you have experience even a little bit working with a needle and thread and you're still kind of new to beading, this is not a particular stitch technique that you have to learn. Just follow the instructions and the illustrations. All right, so we have the 15s and the microspacers around the outside. Now we just need to reflect what we did in the beginning, 1 15 and a microspacer next to the ADAMAS. Sorry, a microspacer, and then another GemDuo, which sits next to the ADAMAS. And we're going to go all the way through around again to secure this part. No matter how far away I put my tools, I always seem to get caught. So you would go all the way around. I'm going to pretend that I did that, and you're going to secure your thread once you come all the way around. You're going to secure this and trim it. We're going to add the top part using a separate thread, so normally if you were to step up, you would see that thread on the side, even a little bit. And because these are small earrings and they're going to be near your face, I just wanted to hide that. So in order to secure my thread, my method is to sew through the existing beads and make a half hitch, not too tight, but a half hitch around the existing thread that's already in there. So I'm sewing through to a place where I believe that the little half hitch would not show as much. There we go. So I'm going to come up in between the 15 and the GemDuo, and I'm going to pull my thread. And can you see how I'm holding my finger there to keep the loop of thread from looping around the other beads? I want it to stay right in between the 15 and the GemDuo. And then I'm going to take my needle and come through that little loop. And now there's a invisible little half hitch around the thread. And I'm going to do that one more time. This will keep the thread from coming out, even though there's no tension on it. I'm going to go around and make another little half hitch. See, again, I'm holding the thread so the loop stays where I want it, in between the GemDuo and the 15. And then I'm going to continue to sew through my with my working thread just a little bit, not skipping any beads. And I'm going to take my thread zap really close. And because this will make a little tiny little ball end when I zap it off, it's going to further secure it from coming loose. Boom, there. All right, bottom of the earring finished. Now I have plenty of thread left on my needle, but to do the top part, but I'm going to string another needle because remember I said I wanted a straight needle in order to go through the finding. So I have a nice, excuse me, a nice straight new needle, and I'm going to flatten the end of my fire line. Here's my thread tip. Take a pliers, squash the end so it's flat, so it'll fit easy through the slot that is the eye of your needle. I'm holding my thread so it's like a poppy seed in my fingers, and I'm going to bring the eye of the needle down to the thread. Look, this is a size 12 needle, so they can be challenging. All right, so now I have a nice straight needle. It's not going to stay straight for long once I've used it in a couple of things. Now, the ADAMAS fits right over. They just slip right in there. Perfect. Like the glass slipper. I'm going to string a 15. So straight through the legs of the ADAMAS, the GemDuos, and out the other side. You want to look at the back and make sure that you're not skipping your beads. You don't want any thread to show there. So I have a 15 on there. I'm going to pull and leave myself a tail, string another 15, and now I do what's called, I call it a rivet. Leslie Pope and I, we're Team Leslie for the BeadSmith. Hi, Les. We call these little rivets. It does a thread turnaround with a little bead so you don't see the thread showing. So I have my 15 down at the other side. I'm going to skip the 15 and go back through the ADAMAS and the GemDuos and the first 15 that I strung. So you can put it down on the table if you want on your work surface and go back through. Let's bring that up so you can see it. And you can see again where having that straight needle is going to let you slide right through. Keep pushing your beadwork in. I'm looking at the other side so I haven't skipped any. And I'm going to come through the other 15, the first one that I added, because I hadn't done that yet. Oops, I pulled it. There we go. So I have my tail coming out here and my working thread coming out of the 15. Next, you want to sew back into your piece, and you're going to sew back and forth across this thread path through the ADAMAS legs, through the GemDuos, through the 15, out the other side. You always want to catch that 15. And you're going to do this a couple times until, oh, I can't see the whole of the 15. There we go. You do this a couple times until you feel that thread path start to get snug. And it won't take very many passes. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to come back through the 15. And if I can, just wiggle my needle through to come out part way, like maybe through one ADAMAS leg and a GemDuo without going through the rest. There we go. So that is now secured in there. I'm going to take my thread zap again, bring it right down there. There we go. Now I'm going to thread my needle on the tail. Let's do that again. This is like the best tip ever, and I don't remember who taught me this. Poppy seed, squash the end, poppy seed, bring the eye of the needle. Poppy seed means it looks like a poppy seed. That's all that shows between your thumb and forefinger. There we go. Now I have my tail thread. Make sure it's coming out of a 15 before you sew back in. And you're going to carefully sew all the way through. Come out the other side. I will, if my fingers slide on this and I have trouble because it's starting to get firm, I'm going to very carefully put it on my table or use a pliers to pull my needle through, just like that. And now coming out of the 15, I'm going to sew back through one leg of the ADAMAS if I can, and one GemDuo. Save my hands the work. Pull that through. Bring my thread zap down. Just, my battery's getting low. There you go. How long did that take? 20 minutes. And I was teaching you how to do it. Now you would take your ear wire. And if you want to, you can attach a chain or a couple jump rings. I like these little simple ball end fish hook earrings. And I don't even need a pliers. I can open it just a little bit and slide my ADAMAS on. Slide my KALAMOS on, like that. And just with my thumb, I'm just going to close that up. How about that? There we go. Those are my Kally earrings. Are there any questions? Again, you want the KALAMOS endings for GemDuos, the ADAMAS bead substitute, Cymbal bead substitute for GemDuos, a handful of GemDuos, faceted microspacers, and 15s, and you're good to go. Again, also, and I think this is probably in your chat somewhere, for the free pattern, you're going to go to www.beadsmith.com/I love beads. When you get to the I love beads page, it's all categorized by bead type. So you will find this pattern under cymbals, and you will find it under GemDuos. And that's it. I'm Leslie Rogalski, hoping everybody's staying safe, reminding you to support your local bead shops. You can find these and other quality BeadSmith beads, tools, and supplies at your favorite bead reseller. And we love beads. See ya!